Imagine this. You're deep underground, surrounded by cold, hard rock. The air is heavy, and the walls are closing in. You can't move. Your friends are somewhere above, but their voices are fading. Panic sets in. This isn't just a scary story, it's real. Today, we're diving into two incredible tales of people trapped in caves, fighting to survive. One ends in hope, the other in heartbreak. Let's start with a name you might know. John Edward Jones and a place called Nutty Putty Cave. But hold on, there's another story, one you've probably never heard, about a boy named Morris Bold. Grab a seat, because these stories will pull you in and won't let go. In 2009, John Edward Jones, a young guy full of energy, went exploring in Nutty Putty Cave in Utah. It was supposed to be a fun adventure, but things went wrong fast. John took a bad turn and ended up in a tight, narrow tunnel. He squeezed in, thinking he'd find a way out. Instead, he got stuck upside down, with his head lower than his feet. The walls pressed against his chest, making it hard to breathe. Darkness swallowed him whole. For 28 hours, rescuers tried everything to save him. They pulled with ropes, used tools, and even prayed for a miracle. John stayed calm at first, talking to them. But time was running out. His body couldn't take it anymore. Sadly, he passed out, and the rescue stopped. They couldn't get him out. After that, the cave was sealed with concrete. A tomb for John and a warning for others. It's a story that sticks with you, right? But here's the thing. John wasn't the first to face this kind of nightmare. Let's go back to 1965, to a boy named Morris Bold and a place called Wildcat Cave. Picture a cool fall day, October 5th, 1965. A group of 16 kids and 3 teachers from the Methodist Children's Home in Berea, Ohio, were excited for a field trip. They were headed to Schönbrunn Village, but a flat tire messed up their plans. No big deal. They decided to visit Hinckley Reservation instead. There, they found Wildcat Cave, a spot tucked into a sandstone cliff. It had a wide, low entrance, like a dark, open mouth, and a history that made it spooky. People said it was once a hideout for runaway slaves and even criminals. Morris Bold, a skinny 15-year-old, 5 feet 7 inches, and 110 pounds, couldn't wait to explore. He'd been to the cave before and felt like he knew it. With 2 friends, he led the way into the main tunnel, an 80-foot stretch that started off easy. You could walk at first, but soon you had to squat. Then it got tight. Morris saw a big leaning rock and thought the path curved around it to a big room he'd heard about. No one stopped him, so he kept going. But the tunnel wasn't what he expected. It shrank fast, and soon he was crawling on his belly. The walls got closer, the air got colder, and fear kicked in. He didn't know it, but he was sliding downward into a tiny crack only 9 inches wide. His hips got stuck, his body pinned. He couldn't move. The cave, once a fun place to explore, now felt like a trap. Morris yelled for help. His 2 friends heard him, but it took a minute to figure out where he was. Scared, they ran to get a teacher. The teacher crawled in and tried to grab Morris with his belt, looping it around the boy's ankle. He pulled, but the belt snapped, and Morris slid deeper. Now he could barely breathe. The rock was squeezing his chest. In the dark, he begged the teacher to find more help. Word spread fast. Fire Chief Paul Chadura and his team showed up with lights and oxygen tubes. They set up a pulley with hooks, but the cave was tricky. Narrow turns and sharp edges made it hard to reach Morris. He was far from the entrance, stuck in a spot no one could easily get to. Every move was risky. If they pushed too hard, they could hurt him more. Hours passed. The cold night came, and over 200 people gathered outside. Firefighters, family, reporters, everyone watching and waiting. News about the trapped boy hit the radio and TV. People wanted to help. A tiny nurse named Evelyn Pinky Pettit, just 5 feet 2 inches and 85 pounds, drove from Akron and squeezed into the cave. She got within 5 feet of Morris and stayed with him for 3 hours, talking to keep him calm, while rescuers planned their next move. The team tried new ideas. A cave expert, Terry Brown, suggested a pulley with a metal ring nailed to the cave roof. They pulled, and Morris moved a little, just a few inches before sliding back. Everyone was worried. If Morris passed out, they'd lose him. See, getting someone out of a tight spot like that takes teamwork 80% from the rescuers pulling and 20% from the person pushing. If he stopped fighting, it was over. They kept him talking. "Got a girlfriend, Morris?" they asked. "We'll get you a steak dinner when you're out." They made him count to 25 and back, anything to keep him awake. But after 24 hours, his voice was fading. Time was almost gone. By morning, the U.S. Air Force flew in experts from the National Speleological Society. 2 men, Curtis Peck and Paul Peck, had a plan. They sent in Michael Rarick, a 15-year-old Eagle Scout, small enough to fit where adults couldn't. Michael crawled in, scared but brave. He got closer to Morris than anyone else. Morris was on his side, weak, with only one arm free. Michael tossed him a rope, and Morris pulled it over his arms. Then Michael poured glycerin, a slippery liquid, on Morris's hips. He slid a thin board under the boy's legs to make pulling easier. "Pull now!" Michael shouted. The team tugged hard. Morris slipped, then stuck, then slipped again. With one big yank, he popped free. Cheers exploded as they wrapped him in a blanket and carried him out. After 25 hours, Morris was safe. The crowd clapped as an ambulance took him away. Morris survived because he was stuck at a 60-degree angle not too steep. If it had been worse, he might not have lasted. Hours later, the Park Service blew up the back of Wildcat Cave to keep others out. Sound familiar? Nutty Putty Cave got sealed too after John's death. 2 caves, 2 lessons. Morris made it, John didn't. So what do these stories tell us? Caves can be amazing, but they're dangerous too. Morris got lucky, quick thinking, brave people, and a bit of hope saved him. John's story reminds us how fast things can go wrong. Both show us the power of human spirit, whether it's fighting to live or risking it all to save someone. Next time you're near a cave, think twice before you step inside. These aren't just stories, they're warnings carved in stone. Let's take a moment to picture Wildcat Cave back in 1965. The kids were laughing, the teachers were chatting, and the sun was shining. No one thought the day would end with a boy stuck underground. Morris probably felt on top of the world when he volunteered to lead. He'd been there before, right? He knew the way, or so he thought. That's the thing about caves. They trick you. One wrong step, and you're in trouble. Now think about John in 2009. He was older, maybe more careful, but Nutty Putty Cave didn't care. It's like these places have a mind of their own, waiting to test anyone who dares to explore. Both Morris and John were regular people, not experts, just folks looking for a good time. And both paid a price, one with his life, the other with a memory he'd never forget. What about the rescuers, firefighters, nurses? Even a kid like Michael didn't give up. They worked all night, cold and tired, because every second mattered. It's hard to imagine being that brave, sliding into a dark hole to save someone you don't even know. That's the other side of these stories. The heroes who show up when everything's falling apart. If you're counting, Morris's rescue took 25 hours. John's 28. That's over a day each, stuck in the dark, hoping someone would pull them out. One got a second chance, the other didn't. Maybe it's luck, maybe it's timing. Either way, these tales stick with us because they're real, raw, messy, and human. If you found this story compelling, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you don't miss future stories about extreme cave diving and underwater exploration.